Mike Bohn, joined now by Cris Cyborg, one of the greatest ever, who returns to the boxing ring on Monday in Colombia for her third professional boxing bout. Cris, how are you? This was a bit of a surprise. This was pretty recent news.
I'm really happy. I've been training and be ready and wait for the next MMA fight. And I love between the fight MMA fights, I can be able to do boxing fight.
Yeah, for sure. How did this one come about? Like, were you searching for a boxing fight? Did you get approached with this opportunity? How did this come together?
My team always like to make me stay busy, so they always say, "Chris, keep training." And they didn't know already I always keep training. So then when they show up with the opportunity, my team said, telling me, let's go, and then training, continue to the camp.
Yeah, and what do you know, I guess, in the time you've been able to train for this fight about Karen Fernandez?
I know she's the number one in Colombia in my division, and she's ranking 25 in the world. I know Colombia is have a big culture in boxing, and I'm really excited. I think the boxing is opening a lot of opportunities for me. I have the opportunity to fight boxing in Brazil. I have the opportunity went to London and now Colombia. Boxing is a big sport, and really me happy to be doing.
Yeah, and you've been training boxing for years, and I know wanting to compete in it, but only actually had the professional fights a few times now. What have you learned about boxing doing the professional fights that maybe you didn't know or didn't expect despite all the years of training
I
it?
feel like this. I know I've been training, boxing, but not boxing, but boxing for MMA. So I feel like I started training into the box. I believe in 2020 when I started beginning with Virgil Ortiz, and then I into to training with a little bit. I trained with Jason, but it was more for MMA. And then I trained with. I went to Benavides camp. So I feel like these last 4 years I've been learning a lot of boxing for boxing. Like boxing for MMA, I was already been doing for a lot of years, but it's a really different sport. And I'm still, learning and excited. Every camp, it's something I want to work, every fight, and getting better and better.
Do you feel like that was helpful, that boxing training in these fights, in your MMA fight at all with Larissa Pacheco recently, or did you have to like go back to some of your MMA tendencies?
No, when I have MMA fight, so we prepare on MMA team. But for sure, what I learned in the boxing training for boxing fight for sure helped me. My footwork, you can see, difference. I was not playing her game, I play my game the whole time on the fight. And we did a specific planning for that fight. Of course, help a lot, being fight boxer for sure. Boxing for MMA is different to boxing, boxing the ring.
Yeah, when you look back at that fight against Larissa, I know like one of your, I guess, concerns going into that was the amount of time that you had between your MMA fight prior to that, but I thought you looked great. Did it go, I guess, better than you thought it would after all the time away from MMA going into that fight?
We prepared the whole time. I think it was a 12 weeks camp. And then, I always been training. I always be active and they're really important. So when I started camp, I already like in shape. So I don't have to get started camp in the shape. So we just push harder training and then be ready for making the plan for the fight. I'm really happy for the fight. It was 5 rounds. I won the 4 rounds in the row. But the reality, the round I lost, I let it stay in the guard and play little guard and play a little bit my jiu-jitsu. I'm really happy, thankful for the victory. Pacheco's a great athlete and it was nice. He was 10 years old, younger than me, and I did it great. I'm really happy.
Yeah, and that was almost 5 months ago now. And I know you said off the top you took this boxing fight because you were waiting for your next MMA fight. What's going on the MMA side? Like, are you talking to PFL? Do they have something planned for you? I know they're starting to announce like their season tournaments. They're obviously not doing one for your weight class. So, what are their plans for you?
The plans for me, I'm doing this next boxing fight. I believe, I have 2 fights in the contract with the PFL. We started already with Pacheco, the Legacy Tour. This is means I have more 2 fights, and then I'm done, this chapter. But I believe I probably is gonna fight MMA in the fall. So after this fight, is gonna continue training and keep you waiting for the next one.
Is there anything that interests you, like as far as what's going on in PFL, or like an opponent that could maybe sign for you to join the division? What do you think makes sense for you as far as an MMA opponent?
The reality, I like to be trained. I think they're all responsible now for the people working in PFL, and then really get ready and never choose my opponent. I think who's going to be ready for the next. I'm going to be ready for defending my first time my title from PFL.
Yeah, but if you only have 2 fights left in MMA, Cris, I imagine you want them to be special and as big as possible, right? So, like, do you see big fights out there at least for you? Like, even is the biggest fight a rematch with Larissa? Is there something else?
No, I believe it like this. I believe these two next fights is going to be great fight, but I think if for make the biggest fight is no is interesting events. They know I know I can make a big fight, and people love to watch my fights. But I have a lot of girls there. I believe they can make a nice strategy for the big, great fights for the last two.
And for the very last one, if you said the next one's going to be in the fall, when do you think the final MMA fight would be? Like sometime early next year?
I really don't know. Like, I hopefully, hopefully it's gonna be the beginning of the year. But the good thing I'm being doing. I want to finish as soon I know possible. I for get it there, finish and. But I'm excited, because I can do between some boxing fights, and then I looking for. I know my team's already been talked to the people from promoted for the fight between the champion BWE. B, B, WBC. So the
Oh,
people from
WC.
WBC, we talked to my team for fight for the title, Cecilia Brooks. So I'm really happy with this opportunity. I think it's one of my goals before I retire. I would like to continue to be champion MMA. And I think it's going to be, I believe, as the first athlete in the world that can be champion, Korean champion MMA and boxing. So this is my goal. And I've been working hard for this. And I have a couple, 2 years for doing this.
That would be incredible. And just one more thing for the incredible legacy you have, Cris. I have to ask, since we're talking about the boxing thing, what about all the stuff with Clarissa Shields that's been going on? There's been a lot said online. Is this leading to anything? Do you think a fight is realistic in either boxing or PFL?
I've been training. I'm gonna fight. I'm ready. Let's do it. I think it's be great. Can be my last fight in MMA, the Lexa tour with her, and after that we can boxing. I don't know. We can make a nice plan. I don't think she have anything to lose about that. She's already coming with a loss in MMA. I think it can be a great fight. You can challenge herself. But I believe we're gonna be good. And I wait. I'm ready. So I've been improved and learned. I think it's a big fight in boxing for us. I think she's big name and a big name too. And just I'm establishing more and more in the learning and wait for this opportunity to come.
Do you think she would do it in either MMA or boxing?
Whatever she wants to do, I'm ready.
Yeah. Well, hopefully it happens. I think that would be a big deal. Okay, Cris. Well, I really appreciate the time. I hope it's a great trip to Colombia. That sounds like a really fun experience for you. How do you think this ends? Are you going to get a knockout here?
I always look for a knockout. I have to be ready and attention, use the techniques I've been learning. I'm really happy being in Colombia. I already been in Colombia, I think, over 6 years. I come to do the bioaccelerate, the stem cells treatment. Really been help a lot with me. So I'm happy after this fight. It's going to be straight to the treatments and back home.
Awesome. Well, that takes place Monday, so make sure everyone tunes in for that. Do you know where we can watch it, Cris?
It's going to be on my website, CrisCyborg.com. So don't miss that, guys.
Amazing. All right. Appreciate it, Cris. Have a great weekend, and we'll talk soon.
Okay. Thank you.